Welcome to my coding course to build an e-commerce website using NextJS in frontend and CommerceJS in backend. You will learn the essential tools and skills to design a professional website like this using these technologies. My name is Basir and I'll be your instructor in this course. After 17 years of programming in international companies like ROI Vision in Montreal, I just found my passion in teaching programming. You can be in touch with me using codingwithbasir.com, and here is the contact information. Let's see what we want to build together in this course. We are going to create an e-commerce website like this. Here you have lists of products. When you click on a product, you will be redirected to product details. You can add a product to cart, change the quantity of product in shopping cart screen, and proceed to checkout. In the checkout, you will have a wizard. Customer enter their information, click on next, shipping address, and it includes selecting country, state, and shipping options. And then click on next, here credit card information, and by clicking on confirm, the payment will be done and the order will be placed. Here is the order and you will get an email for your order receipt. Great, that's what we want to build together in this lesson. Let's talk about the development stack that we're going to use in this course. Here is the architecture of this application. For deployment, we're gonna use Versal. For frontend, we use NextJS, and for backend, CommerceJS. So there is no database, there is no regular backend like Express, Python. We are going to just use an API. We are going to just use a headless e-commerce platform named commerce.js. Let's introduce CommerceJS. CommerceJS makes e-commerce development easy and fast with their JavaScript SDK, APIs, and headless architecture. It gives developers the freedom to 100% control their commerce integration from storefront to receipt. Their managed e-commerce backend and infrastructure frees developer to build front-end experiences with the framework, platform, and services they know and love, like PayPal, Stripe, and more. The reason we're gonna use CommerceJS, unlike Shopify, CommerceJS isn't trying to be a CMS and so doesn't have templates environment to wrestle with on the front end. Instead, you can just pipe your e-commerce in where you need it and control everything, including the checkout. Unlike Magento, CommerceJS is super lightweight to integrate and easy to maintain. You can be totally new to web development and build with their tech using their documents, guides, and supportive community to lean on. Let's go for the front-end part. In the front end, we're gonna use NextJS, which is a React framework that gives you the best developer experience with all features you need for production, like hybrid, static, and server rendering, smart bundling, route prefetching, and more. A lot of companies are using NextJS for their website. Best feature of NextJS is having no config to start working with that. For deployment, we're gonna use Versal, which is the owner of NextJS, and we are going to use their platform to deploy our project on the internet. The prerequisite of this project is understanding basics of React like component, state, props, and hook, basics of NextJS including pages and routing, and also working with GitHub to pull and push code to the repositories. By the end of this course, you'll be able to design a professional website to build an e-commerce website, and you can launch your own business on this platform using CommerceJS in backend and NextJS in frontend. Okay, if you are interested in this course, let's go for the next lesson. In this lesson, we are going to create a Next.js application and run it locally at localhost 3000. Also, we are going to publish and deploy this application to Versal and publish that on this address, coolshop.versal.app. To do that, we create a GitHub account and publish our code to a repository on GitHub. And also, we will create a Versal account and connect Versal to GitHub to deploy our code on the internet and share it with all around the world. Let's get to code. To create a Next.js project, first of all, you need to open VS Code. Next step is gonna be open in terminal, click New Terminal, and go to Desktop. Inside Desktop folder, run this command, npx create -next-app, and press enter. We will have questions. Question is, what is your project named? Set name to Coolshop, and it start installing React, React DOM, and Next using Yarn. If you have, if you don't have Yarn on your computer, it's gonna use npm. It doesn't matter, and the result is same. While installing packages, what we're gonna do is to go to GitHub, and inside github.com, you need to create a GitHub account. And after creating account in github.com, you should have a new button here. We are going to create a new repository to push our code to GitHub. Let's set the name to Coolshop here and click on create repository. Let's come back to the VS Code, and at the end, you should have this. Type cd Coolshop to go to the Coolshop folder and type code dot. By running this command, you will have a new VS Code window, but in this case, you have Coolshop folder in the left panel. You can close the previous one and start working on the new VS Code instance. Next step, open terminal. As you see, the terminal is in the Coolshop folder inside desktop. And follow the instruction here. We are going to add a remote repository and run this command to create the main branch, and run this command to push your code to GitHub. Great. If you refresh this page, github.com/yourname/coolshop, we have our code here. Don't forget, you need to set SSH key to authenticate your GitHub account in the terminal. The next step is gonna be run project in your computer. Type npm run dev. You will get this message. Control click on this link to open localhost 3000. Great. We successfully created our very first Next.js application. The next step is gonna be deploying this application to Versal. Open versal.com and click on sign up. Select continue with GitHub. And here you will be redirected to github.com. Here you need to enter your GitHub email and password and click on sign in. After sign in, you will have a screen like this. You will be redirected to versal.com/dashboard. What we're gonna do here is to click on import project. Select import Git repository. And here we need to enter the GitHub link of our project. You can copy the link of project from here and paste it right here. Click continue. Okay, it says, is this your personal GitHub account? Yes. It says select Versal account, the personal account. Continue. Here you will be redirected to GitHub to install Versal app. Install You can select all repository or only select repository. I select all. And after that, you will be redirected to the versal.com to verifying your connection. Great. Here, the project name is Coolshop. The framework is NextJS. We just need to click on deploy. After clicking on deploy, you will be redirected to the project page, and it shows all output in the terminal to publishing or deploying your project to the Versal cloud server. As you see here, it runs the build command to build your application. And after build, it will deploy and you will have a link to open your web application on the web, and you can share it with your friends, colleagues, or anyone. Great. As you see, the congratulations message comes here, and if I click on visit, I have coolshop.versal.app. Your project name may be different, and here is the local version of Next.js application, and this one is the cloud version on the internet. You can change this address, this subdomain, to your own domain if you are interested. But what we did in this lesson is to create a Next.js application and publish that on the internet. For next session, we will work on CommerceJS to list product in our Next.js application. Until next lesson, bye-bye. This lesson, we are going to create a CommerceJS account and create 4 products to display on our e-commerce website. To do that, we create an account in check.io, and then we create 4 products by copying products from apple.com/iPhone. It's up to you. You can use your own products. Also, we create sandbox public key and sandbox secret key and set them in the .env file in our project. And also we set this API keys in the versal in project setting for Coolshop. Okay, let's do this. To create product on CommerceJS, first of all, we need to create an account on CommerceJS.com. Open your browser and enter CommerceJS.com, press enter. In this screen, click on sign up and you will be redirected to a new page. Create an account using enter email or password or using Google or GitHub. I'm using Google. After login, you will be redirected to dashboard.check.io, and there we are. In the dashboard screen, you will see your sales, orders, and other reports. In this step, we are going to create products. In the sidebar, select product, and inside that, select products. I have created 4 products. What you need to do is to create products like this. Click on add product. What I'm gonna do here is to create 4 products. And what you need to do is to open apple.com/iPhone. Here we have 4 products, and we are going to add these products to commerce.js. To do that, first of all, copy the name here, go to product, paste it, copy description, paste it here, set quantity, let's say to 100. For price, let's say what's the price here? It's $9.99. For image, open buy in a new window, buy link, right click on product and save image in your desktop, and then go to the product page, choose image, and then select image here. Also scroll down, and for shipping options, change disable to enable and change domestic United States to enable. Let's keep them 0. By having this change, you have a product and you need to save this product. Do the same for Next, for products iPhone 12, iPhone 11, and iPhone SE. After creating all products, you should have 4 products in this link. Great. Next step, we need to get API keys from dashboard. Click on developer, select API keys, and here we have our API keys. For this application, we are going to use sandbox account. We're not gonna have real payments. So copy this text from here, sandbox public key, and go to your NextJS application. In the root folder, right-click new file and set file name to .env. We are going to create an environment variable. It's commerce public key. It's gonna be equal to, and paste the value for public key here. Also, you can create commerce secret key and set it equal to the value for sandbox secret key right here. Don't forget, for real product, you need to replace this keys with the live keys right here. I mean this one instead of this, and secret key instead of sandbox secret key. Save the file and then go to the version control, right click on .env and click add to get ignore. By having .env in .get ignore, you will not push this file to the GitHub and your keys will be on your computer only. Great. Let's go for next step. We are going to set the keys on the versal too. Go to versal, projects, select Coolshop, click edit, select environment variable. In the add new, for name, enter commerce public key, and for value, enter the test public key. Click save. Great. It's been added to here. Let's add another one, commerce secret key, paste it here, copy secret key test and paste it here and click save. So what we have in the environment variable of versal.com for Coolshop, we have 2 environment variable and we set them to the value that we get from CommerceJS. Okay, that's it about this lesson. For next lesson, we are going to list products in NextJS. Until that lesson, bye-bye. In this lesson, we are going to list products from commerce.js. In the NextJS application, you will have a list of products that shows products image, name and price, and we will be connected to the CommerceJS using API key and show products on the homepage. Let's get to code. Here is the plan to list products in the home screen. First of all, we need to create commerce.js in utils folder and then update index.js to show list of products on the homepage. Click on Explorer. In the root folder, right-click New Folder and set folder name to utils.js. Inside that, we are going to create a utility file for connecting to CommerceJS. Enter the name to commerce.js. In this point, we need to install commerce.js package from npm. Open your terminal, click on plus icon and type npm install, and the name of package is check /commerce.js. After installing this package, we need to import commerce.js here, and then let's define a variable named commerce. After defining this variable, we need to define a function to get commerce instance. In this function, we have a parameter, and the parameter is commerce public key. In the body of this function, first of all, we check commerce variable. If it does exist, we just return the created instance of commerce, so we do not, create it again and again when we need it. Otherwise, we need to create a new instance of commerce.js. To create an instance, we need to get public key from .env file from the environment variable. But if user passed the public key using this function parameter, we use that. Next step, we need to find the development environment Boolean value. If the process.env.node environment is development, we set a flag to dev environment to true, otherwise it's gonna be false. We need that to pass it as a parameter for commerce instance. Okay, let's have a condition here. If we are in development mode and public key was not provided, then we show an error message to user. Otherwise, we have an important command here. We create a new instance of commerce and we pass two parameter public key. We get this from check.io and the variable for and the flag for dev environment. After creating the instance, we just need to return that. At the end, we need to export this function as a default export. Great. We created the utility function to get access to an instance of commerce.js, and we are ready to go to the pages index.js. Here is the home page, and what we need to do in the home page is to just list products. Let's get rid of content inside main here, and at the very end we are going to define get static props function, because in the server side we are going to get a list of products from CommerceJS and render them in the server side and send them to the client. Here is the function. We need to use export async function get static props. In the body of this function, what we're gonna do is to create an instance of commerce using getCommerce function. Press Ctrl space to import getCommerce from util.js. It's the function that we created earlier. After getting the instance, we need to call commerce.products.list. This command returns a promise, so we use await here to get the content of this function. It returns all products, and we get the data and rename them to products. After getting that, we need to return them to the render function. We return an object. In this object, we have a props, and in the props, we pass the products that we get from commerce.products.list. Great. So by running this function in the component, we can get access to the product using props. So what I'm gonna do here is to get products from props. And here what I need to do is to use map function in the main section. Inside map function, we can render devs. Inside devs, we need to set key and set key to product.id. So what I'm gonna show here is an image. Set source of image to product.media.source. Set alternative text to product.name. Inside the paragraph, enter product.name. In another paragraph, enter product.price. And let's keep it simple. We only show product image, name, and price. And for price, set price.formatted with symbol. Great. What I'm gonna do is to run the project. Open your terminal, close all instances of Node, and then run a fresh npm run diff and press enter. After getting this message, control-click on it to open it in new window. Great. Here we have all products like this. iPhone, as you see, that's what we wanted to have at the very end. Great. In this lesson, what we did is to create a list of products from CommerceJS platform. And for next lesson, we are going to improve this list and make it beautiful. What we're gonna do in this lesson is to create a React context to manage state in our application. Also, we will install in progress to show a loading box when we switch between pages. Okay, let's start coding. First of all, create store.js in components folder. We don't have components folder, so first of all, create new folder, components, and inside components folder, right-click new file and set file name to store.js with capital S because it's a component, it returns a component. First of all, we need to import React, create context, and use reducer. We need them to create a redux context. After that, it's time to create a context using create context and save the result in store. We export it directly. The next command, we need to define a store, and inside that, we need to create a switch case, and in the cases, we have actions. For default, we are going to return previous state. We will add new actions in next lessons, and then close the function. After creating reducer, it's time to define a store provider. We are going to define a store provider and export it. A store provider accept props, and in the store provider, what we're gonna do is to use reducer. Use reducer accept two parameters. The reducer function that change the state based on action, and initial state. We need to define initial state. For initial state, what I'm gonna do is to just define this. In initial state, we have card, and by default, it's an object. And inside this object, we have loading variable, and its value is true by default. And we have orders, and by default, order is null. Great. The last command inside store provider is to returning store.provider. But before that, let's define an object and set the object name to value. It's an object that comprises of state and dispatch. They are coming from use reducer. And for the last line, we are going to return store.provider. And in this component, we set props to value, and inside that we render children. So it's gonna be a wrapper for the whole application. Great. To create a wrapper in NextJS, we have a special file named _app.js. as you see here. What we're gonna do is to wrap the whole application in store provider. Let's go for it. First of all, we need to import store provider here and wrap the component inside store provider like this. Also, I'm going to define get initial props for my app right here, and inside this function, which will run on the server side, I'm going to pass commerce public key in the environment variable to the client for client side rendering. Here for return, get rid of comma and wrap it inside round brackets. Great. By having this change, there is no any update in the homepage. For the last part of this lesson, I'm going to use nProgress package to show a loading when we switch between pages. npm install nProgress. After installing this, we need to import it in the app.js here. I'm going to import router from next/router. Okay? To show a loading box when we start moving or switching to other pages, I'm gonna use this event handler on router.event router change start. I show a loading box, and when it's done, I set nProgress to done. Also, if there is an error in moving to other page, we need to make the progress done too. Great, let's fix the typo here. npm install nProgress. And don't forget, we need to import the CSS of nProgress too. Let's restart application and open it. Great. That's it about the nProgress. And by having this change, we have implemented a React context, and we have used that in the app.js. Also, we set public key in page props inside app.js in get initial props. So we have access to commerce public key in client side too. Great. That's it for this lesson. Until next lesson. Bye-bye. In this lesson, we are going to use Material UI as a UI framework for our project. We're gonna add a header and show brand name and card menu in the header bar. And also at the end, we will have a footer to show Coolshop 2021. Let's implement this feature. Here is the plan to design Material UI layout. First of all, we need to install Material UI/core. Open a new terminal and npm install @material-ui/core. And the next step is gonna be creating a new file inside pages. Right click, new file, and set file name to document.js, put underline before document. It's a special file that will run in the server side, and what we're gonna do is to import Material UI style in this file. First of all, import React, and then import some objects from NextJS, including document, HTML head, main, and next script. And we are going to import server style sheets from Material UI. In this file, we need to create a class-based component like this. Its name is my document, and it extends document from NextJS document, and define a render function. And in the render function, we are going to define an HTML object. Inside HTML object, we need to define head from NextJS. Inside that, what I'm gonna do is to import fonts from font.googleapi.com. By having this code, we import font Roboto from Google. Let's go for the body section. In the body section, we're gonna include main section and next script. That's it about the component. And what we want to do is to define get init props for my document. Let's define it. Right after defining this component, define get init props. Inside this function, what we're gonna do is to render app and page and get the context of the page with collected side effects. First of all, we define sheets from server style sheet from material UI, and then get the render page and save it as an original render page. Great. After that, we are going to update the render page of the context and use original render page, but this time we use sheets from material UI and call the collect function of sheet to apply the style sheet to the application. Next step is gonna be getting initial props. In this line, I get initial props from document in Next.js, and at the end, I'm going to return this object, including initial props and style that comprises of the React style based on initial props and also the style from material UI. By having this document, rendering material UI styles and elements will be smooth and without any problem in server and client side. The last change that we need to have to apply this setting is opening app.js, and inside app.js we need to define use effect, and it will run right after mounting this component. And what we did here is to select the JSS server side, and if it does exist, we'll remove JSS style from the parent element. We're not gonna duplicate material UI style in server and client. Next step. In the next step, we are going to create a layout component. Inside component folder, right click, new file, and set file name to layout.js. It's gonna be used in all pages, and it's like a wrapper to add style and material UI, default material, header, footer, and content to all pages. First of all, we need to import React from React, and then let's create the component. The component is gonna be like this: export default function layout, and the default props are children, commerce public key, and the title is Coolshop. In the body of this function, what I'm gonna return is a React fragment like this. Inside React fragment, let's define head section. The head section set the char set to UTF-8, set the title, and here the title is a combination of the title that we set, and we concatenate that with the site name. For site name, let's make it simple, cool shop. That's it. And the icon inside favicon.ico, it's in the public folder, this one. And also set meta viewport to make it perfect in mobile screens. After creating head, it's time to create a theme provider, to use theme provider from material UI and also CSS baseline to add the basic style to our layout. Let's import theme provider from material UI like this. It's gonna be @material UI/core. Good. For CSS baseline, let's import that. And inside theme provider, we defined theme. For theme, what I'm gonna do is to define a file to create a theme. Inside util.js, right click, new file, and set file name to styles.js. Inside style.js, let's import create theme and make style, and then let's define a theme like this. Here is the theme object. For theme object, I'm gonna set typography for heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3. I just change the font size and margin. And for color, the color is palette object in theme. To this color's yellow. Great. Let's define style too. I'm going to define a style like this. Use a style using make a style, and inside that let's define style for app bar, toolbar title. Let's go to style here, and I'm going to import that from utils style. Great. Let's continue styling layout. I'm going to create a app bar here, and here I'm using classes.app_bar. So I need to define classes like this. Right before return, define user style and import user style from utils/style. Next step, inside app bar, we need to define toolbar. Inside toolbar, define a link, and it's the header link. I'm using site name here, and the site name is Coolshop. Open app.js, and for use effect, let's import it, and then go to index.js, and here what I'm gonna do is to wrap main inside layout. Get rid of content before main, and after main, only keep main here, and define layout like this. Move the main content inside layout, and then import layout from component/layout. Go to layout.js and import head from next/head, and also import app bar from material UI and toolbar. Also, we need to import next link from next/link, but the link itself should be imported from material UI. Here is the result. We have Coolshop. It's a header, but there is no content. Let's fix that. Inside layout, we need to render children too. After app bar, create container for children like this. We need to import container from material UI. Scroll up and import container here. Here we have a header and products. Next step, create a footer like this. Right after container, create a footer and import box from material UI. Scroll up, paste box in the import section, and typography like this. For site name, make it Coolshop. If you scroll down at the very end, you have a footer like this. Great. In the header, I'm going to add a nav section to show a menu for card. It's gonna be like this: card and next link. We need to implement card screen later. We have a header. In the left side, we have brand name. In the right side, we have card link. And at the end, we have a footer that shows Coolshop 2021. And we have list of products here. For next session, we are going to style the products. Until next lesson, bye-bye. In this lesson, I'm going to create a list of products using material UI elements like card, slides, and links. So when you refresh, you will have a scroll from bottom to up, and also all products like a card. To implement this feature, first of all, we need to show an alert in the home page if there is no product. Open index.js inside pages. And here, what I'm gonna do right after layout, is to have a conditional rendering. If products dot length equal to 0, then render this alert. Alert is a component from Material UI Lab. No product found. Let's install that. Open terminal, click a new instance, npm install Material UI/lab. After installing this, we can import that in this file like this. Great. Next step is gonna be creating a grid. We are going to show products using Material UI elements. Create a grid container like this, and inside that we are going to show products. So I just cut this from here, paste it right here, and get rid of main. We are not going to use div to show a product item, so let's get rid of it. Instead of it, we are going to use grid element. So create a grid item. This one is container and this one is item. Inside that, we are going to define a card. Here is the card. In this card, first of all, I create a link to the details page of products. I'm using product.permalink. It's the permanent link of product. And then create an action area. Here I show the image of product, and this is the cart contents. And then create a typography to show the product name and product price. The next step is gonna be wrapping items inside and a slide. Let's wrap it and set the key for the element right after map. For a slide, direction is up, so it's gonna go from bottom like an animation from bottom to top. Move the whole card inside slide. Cut the card and paste it right inside the slide like this. Here is the final product list. Great, we need to import stuff for Material UI core. Scroll up, and at this point, import card action area, card content, card media, grid, slide, and typography. Let's import link too. I'm gonna import link from next link. We don't need styles here. Let's get rid of it. And also, there is no need to have head here. It's the final code. Let's check the results. Here we have a list of products, and they are like a link. If I click on a product, you will go to an error page because we didn't implement the product details page. Let's create a space between header and content here. Open styles.css, and right after toolbar title, let's add some classes. Here is the classes: link, main, large image, margin top 1, padding 1, and form control. Add these classes to the style.css inside use style function. Save it. Let's check the results. Yeah, here there is a space between them. That's it about this lesson. Until next lesson, bye-bye. In this lesson, we are going to create product details screen. When you are in the home page and select a product, you will be redirected to product details screen. Here you have product image, description, and a box to add product to cart and show the status and price of the product. Let's get to code. To implement this feature, we need to create a file named square bracket id closing square bracket .js in products folder inside pages. So right click in pages, new folder, set folder name to products, and inside that I'm going to create a new file, set file name to id.js. Copy the content of index.js, I'm in the home screen, and then scroll up, change function home to function product. After this change, we are going to get product from props, not products, because we are going to show only one product. Okay, make it product and remove the content inside layout. Get rid of all content inside layout. You have an empty content here. For product, we are going to get the product from get static props from server side. Let's do that. First of all, we need to get the parameter ID from the URL, put the parameter inside variable ID using the constraining assignment, and then create an instance of get ECommerce. And instead of getting product list, I'm gonna get products.retrieve by ID, and the type of ID is permanent link. So at this point, I have the product from CommerceJS API. What I need to return is to only return product here. That's it about get static props. In the server side, we connect to CommerceJS backend, get the product information and pass it to the render function, the component here. In the component, we need to show product information in 3 columns. The first column is for image, second for details, and the third for action, adding item to cart. First of all, inside layout, create a slide. Inside slide, create a grid, and the first grid here occupy half of a screen and shows the image of product. Second grid is gonna show the details of product. It's a list item that shows product name and product description. Because product description is in HTML format in CommerceJS, dangerously set inner HTML to show the HTML in correct format in the screen. And the last column is very important here. Create the last column. Inside that, we are going to create a card like this. Inside the card, create a list. And inside list, the first list item is gonna be this. It shows the price, and I'm using grid to show them in 2 columns. Second list item is this, status. If product.quantity is greater than 0, show in stock. I'm using alert and severity is success. If it's equal to 0, it's unavailable. Okay. If product.quantity is greater than 0, then I can show add to cart button. So here I'm using this conditional rendering, and inside that, what I did is to check product.quantity. So what I can do here, I want to create a list item like this. In this list item, I create a grid. The caption, the label is quantity. And here there is a select box to choose items from 1 to product.quantity. Just create a select box. Okay. For sure, the last list item is gonna be a button, and the button is add to cart. I need to implement add to cart handler. To implement add to cart handler, I need to create a function right before return function. Scroll up, right before return. Here I need to implement add to cart handler. Here is the body of this function. I just console log, because it's the topic of next lesson, add to cart, and type to do before that. Great. For quantity, let's set an state here. It just get the quantity that user selected. And for components / layout, make it /... and do the same for utils, because the ID is in products folder. It's, one level deeper compared to index.js. The next change, scroll down and change the name of get static props to get server side props, because we are using ID in the URL and we have to change it to the get server side props to render it properly in the server side. At the very beginning, we need to import useState from React like this. And let's define classes inside product component right here and import useStyle from utils.style. Also, there is no need to have cart action, content, and media and change them to list and list item. Also, we have used select. Let's import select from Material UI core and menu item and button. Great, here is the result. We created a very simple but elegant product details screen. It shows product price, status, and quantity. And there is an add to cart that we need to implement that in next lesson. We have product image and product details here. If you go to home screen and select another product, you will see the details of that product. That's it about this lesson. Until next lesson, which is about adding product to the shopping cart. Bye-bye. In this lesson, we are going to implement add to cart action. When user select a product, set the quantity, and click add to cart, the cart item here should change and user should be redirected to cart screen. In this lesson, we focus on add to cart action and updating the cart badge in the header menu, and for next lesson, we implement cart screen. Let's get to code. Here is the plan to implement add to cart action. First of all, in the store.js, we need to extend the reducer function for two actions. The first action is sending a request to get cart information from CommerceJS, and the second one is getting the result of retrieving cart information. What I'm gonna do here is to create the first case. When the action is cart retrieve request, I set loading to true for cart, but don't change the other data in the state. And this one is cart retrieve success, and it happens after getting data from cart object in CommerceJS API. I set loading to false and set data to action.payload. Let's define cart retrieve request and success in constant.js. Inside utils folder, right-click new file and set file name to constants.js. We need to define two constants that we have used in store.js, and we need to import them right here like this. Great. Let's go for the next step, open layout. And inside layout function, what I'm gonna do is to use context hook to get the state and dispatch using this line of code. And after that, I'm gonna get cart from state. Then create a use effect. And inside use effect, I define fetch cart. And inside fetch cart function, first of all, I get commerce instance from CommerceJS and dispatch this action. Set cart retrieve request is set loading to true, and then run this command to get cart information from CommerceJS API and put them in cart data. After that, I dispatch another action and set payload to cart data. So in the store.js, at this point, the data inside cart contains all information returned from cart object in CommerceJS. Great. Let's import use effect from React, get commerce from utils.js, cart retrieve item. I'm using control space to auto import them. Great. Next step, in the navigation menu, replace cart with this conditional rendering. If cart.loading, I show a circular progress it's a component from material UI to show a loading box. And if cart.data.total_items is greater than 0, I use a badge component from material UI to show a badge. Otherwise, I just show cart text. Good. In the layout, scroll up and import use context here, and also store from components/store and get commerce. Here is the result. You have cart and I have 2 items in the cart. Good. Let's go to id.js and implement add to cart action here. First of all, get rid of console.log and create an instance of commerce object. Import get commerce. Next step is gonna be getting line item using this path cart.data.lineItem. But what is cart? To get the cart, we need to use the same code in layout.js. This code. Copy this and paste it right after classes. So in the line items, I'm searching for a product that its ID equal to product. I use a condition here. If line item exists, it means that the product that I'm going to add to the cart already is in the cart. So what I'm gonna do is to update that item, but change the quantity to the quantity that user selected in the select box. And then update the cart by the data that returns by the update API. And redirect user to the cart screen to finish payment. The else part. In the else part, what I'm gonna do is to just add using cart.add the product and the quantity that user selected to the shopping cart, and then dispatch cart retrieve success to update the cart and redirect user to cart screen. I'm going to comment this and this because I'm gonna check the result in this screen because there is no cart screen anymore. But at the end of this lesson, I'm gonna comment out them. Good. Let's import use context, import store. Okay, let's try that. I'm gonna add 4 items from iPhone 12 and add it to cart. As you see, it's changed. Let's do that for another product, iPhone SE. And I'm gonna add 3 iPhone SE, add it to cart. The cart changed from 5 to 8. Great. We implemented add to cart feature in this screen. Let's update the page title here. It's home. It should be the name of product. In the title, set it to product.name. And here is iPhone SE. It's very important for SEO. Great, that's it for this lesson. We implemented add to cart feature. For next lesson, we are going to implement cart screen. Before finishing this lesson, let's comment this out and import router from next/router. When you click on add to cart, you will be redirected to cart screen, and it's an error because we didn't implement this screen. For next lesson, we are going to implement that. Until that lesson, bye-bye. In this lesson, we are going to implement shopping cart. By the end of this lesson, when you add a product to the cart, you will be redirected to a screen like this, and you will have a list of products in your shopping cart. You should be able to change the quantity of a product or remove the product from list. Let's implement this feature. Here is the plan to create cart screen. First of all, we need to go to the pages folder and right click here, new file, and set file name to cart.js. Next step is gonna be copying content of index.js, the homepage, inside cart.js, and scroll up, rename function to cart, and get rid of content inside layout. Next step, get style and set it to classes. right here. And we are going to get the cart information from React context. To get the error message, let's say here we didn't import use context, but there is no error here. What we can do is to just install npm install ESLint and use save dev to install it as a development dependency and don't ship that to the production environment. The next step is gonna be running ESLint. Enter /node module /bin ESLint --init. Select the default. It's to check syntax and find problems. JavaScript module, React, no for TypeScript, browser, JavaScript, and press yes to install ESLint plugin React, which is a dependency for this configuration. After initializing ESLint, you should get all basic error messages so you can fix them, like this. Let's fix the errors here. I need to import, use a style, use context. Using control space, you will get the recommendation. That's it. And it says React must be part of this. Let's import React from React. Great. Next step. For some errors, we are going to ignore the errors. Let's say for this one, we are going to ignore React /prop types. What we can do is to go to .eslint rc.js and inside the rules, set React /props types to 0. There is no error here. Next step. First of all, we need to check cart.loading. If we are loading cart, we should show circular progress like this. Otherwise, if we have loaded the cart, we need to have another check. And here is the next check. We check the items in the cart. If the number of items in the cart is 0, we need to render an alert message. And the message is cart is empty and a link for going to homepage for shopping. And the last case is gonna be showing cart items. I just create a React fragment like this, and inside React fragment we are going to show cart items. Let's import circular progress here. For showing shopping cart screen, first of all, I'm gonna show heading 1 and set the heading to shopping cart. After that, create a slide like this. Inside a slide, create a grid because we are going to show 2 columns. And for the first column, set MD to 9 with the wide screen in a bigger section, which is gonna be shopping cart items, and the small section, which is action part to proceed to checkout. Here we are going to create a table, so use table container from Material UI and create table itself. Inside the table, we need to create table header, and here is the table header. It includes name, quantity, price, and action. Quantity and price set align to right. We're gonna make them right aligned in the screen. Use control space to import elements from Material UI like this. And for table body, create a table body right after table header, and inside that use cart.data.line items to map each item in the shopping cart to a row in this table like this. So for creating a row, I use table row set key to cart items.name. It's gonna be the product name, and the first cell is gonna show product name. For next cell, we are going to create a select box to make it possible for user to change the item of this product in the shopping cart. Let's import select, and we need to define a handler for quantity change in the cart. Also import menu item here. We'll define it later. Let's go for the next cell. The next cell is the price. It's super simple. Just create a table cell and set it to price.formatted with symbol. And the last cell is gonna be a button. Create a cell, inside that define a button, import a button from material UI, and this button is going to delete or remove an item from shopping cart. We need to implement remove from cart here. Before going for implementing quantity change handler and remove from cart handler, let's create a second column. It's the action column. So right after this grid, create another grid. It's, an item grid. And inside that, define a card to create a border around it and create a list inside the card. Let's import list from material UI. Inside this list, the first item is a list item, and in this list item that we are going to import it from material UI, we show subtotal, and subtotal comes from cart information, cart.subtotal.formatted with symbol. The second list item is a button to proceed to checkout. So we need to implement proceed to checkout handler here. But we only show this if total items is greater than 0. Because I'm going to render this screen only in front end, not in the server side, at the very end, I'm gonna get rid of getStaticProps, and instead of it, I'm going to use this, use dynamic. Dynamic is a function from NextJS, and by having this setting SSR equal to false, this page will be rendered only on the client side, on the front end, not on the back end. To fix the issue with export default, scroll up and get rid of export default for the function. Also scroll down at the very end and press Ctrl space, and we need to import dynamic from next/dynamic here. Okay, let's implement event handler. The first event that we are going to implement is remove from cart handler. It get list item, and inside that we get an instance of commerce from CommerceJS, and we call this API commerce.cart.remove this line item, and then we update the context with the updated cart from CommerceJS. Press Ctrl space to import it. That's all about remove from cart. Let's go for the next event that we are going to handle, and it's quantity change handler. Here we get the line item and the quantity that need to be changed. First of all, get an instance of getECommerce of CommerceJS, and then we call update method on cart object. In this method, we introduce the ID of line item and the new quantity. And after that, we update the cart in the React context. The last event is proceed to checkout handler, and here we simply redirect user to checkout screen. Press Ctrl space to import router from next/router here. There is no need to have products here. Let's get rid of it. And also the cart and box. Good. We implemented the cart screen. Let's import table body. And there is no error in the code. Let's check the results. Here I select a product, add it to cart, Here in the cart screen, I have shopping cart, list of products, and subtotal. Let's change the quantity to 3. It just changed. For action, in the remove, let's make it right aligned. In the code, find this one, make it right aligned. Yeah, it's much better. Let's click on remove. You get this message, cart is empty, go shopping. Let's test it again. Select this product, set quantity to 3, add it to cart. Select another product, set quantity to 2 and add it to cart. We have 5 items in the cart and here is the cart screen. If I click on proceed to checkout, I will get an error. Checkout screen is the topic of next lesson. What we did in this lesson is to create a shopping cart like this, and for next lesson we implement checkout. Until that lesson, bye-bye. What we're gonna do in this lesson is to create a checkout form like this. In this form, user can enter their checkout information in a stepper like this. First of all, user enter customer information, shipping info. Here we have select boxes that they are dependent to each other, and also the credit card information. We are going to implement the UI in this lesson, and for next lesson we implement confirm order. Let's get to code. Here is the plan to implement this feature. What we're gonna do is to create checkout.js in pages folder. Let's duplicate cart and rename it to checkout.js. Here I'm going to rename cart to checkout and get rid of handler here, and let's define states for customer information, shipping information, and payment. Let's start with customer details. For customer details, we're gonna save 3 data. It's gonna be first name, last name, and email, and they are state hook. Let's import use state first, and right before checkout I'm going to define dev variable, and it's a boolean value. If we are in development mode, it's true, and if it's true, I'm going to set the first name to Jane. I'm not gonna enter it again and again because I'm testing and I'm developing this form, and I'm not gonna enter them data, so I'm using default data. Let's go for the next step. The next data that I'm going to save is shipping data. Here is shipping data, including shipping name, street, postal code, city, state or province, and country and shipping options. That's the data we need to save for shipping. After shipping details, it's time to save payment details. For payment details, what I'm gonna save is cart number, expiry month, expiry year, CVV, and billing postal code. And like always, if I'm in development mode, I fill them by fake data. I'm in production, it's gonna be empty. The last part is about fulfilling data for shipping. It includes shipping countries. They are items for select boxes, including countries, subdivisions, and shipping options. That's it about the state. We need to create checkout, and I'm going to get rid of all content inside layout here. Remove them and rename cart to checkout. Great. When I click on proceed to checkout, in the checkout screen, I have this empty content. So what we're gonna do is to create a stepper and show input fields for the first step, which is getting customer details. Before that, let's define a section for stepper. We need to save the active step. After creating active step, it's time to define steps. We have 3 steps. For the next step, I'm going to define handle next button. Here is the body of handle next button. If the step is equal to last step, I need to handle checkout. I just comment it out because it's the topic of the next lesson. But if it's not, I just change the active step to the next step. Let's do the same for handle back. For handle back, what I'm gonna do is to set the next step to active step -1. And also I set errors to empty. For errors, we need to define a state to show errors. Great, let's go for the render part. In the layout, first of all, we need to show a checkout title or heading. It's the heading 1, but the style is h6. After that, it's time to check loading. If I'm loading cart information, I need to show a circular progress. Otherwise, I need to render information. To render information, I'm going to create a grid container, inside that a grid item, and inside that create a cart. Inside the cart, create a form, and inside form, create a stepper. Here is the stepper that we're gonna show to user. The active step is the active step state, and I render steps like this using map function and convert to step component and step label from material UI. It's time to create a box. Inside box, check active state. If active step equal to steps.length, it means that we are at the end of the stepper. At this point, we need to check errors. And if there is an error, we need to show error message. I'm gonna use a box to show error message like this. In this box, I create a list, and inside list for all errors, I convert textual error to list item and alert with severity error. Next to error, I just show a button for back because we need to provide a way for user to fix that errors. User should be back to previous step and fix the error. Otherwise, I need to show confirming order because we are at the last step and there is no error. So I need to show a message for confirming order. Otherwise, create a box like this and define get step content and pass active step as a parameter. We need to implement this later. It's gonna show the input boxes, and right after that, create a box to show back and next. If we are in the last step, instead of next, we show confirm order as a caption of button. Great. Let's close this. Close the box, close the form, and close the card, and close the grid, and close the grid again, and save it. That's it about the end of render part. Let's scroll up and define stepper using control space and importing from material UI. Same for this. Step label, import box from material UI, and define get step content. For step content, scroll up, right before return function, define get step content. It accepts step as a parameter, and inside that we need to define a case. In this case, I check the step with 0. If it's 0, we need to create input items for customer information including first name, last name, and email. So create case 0, return, and create an empty container. Inside that, create first name input box using Material UI, last name, and the last one is email. For default case, I'm gonna return unknown step and close the switch. Let's import text field. Here is the result. We have customer information and it shows first name, last name, and email. You can change the information here and click on next. Okay, let's implement shipping details step. In the get step content, create another case before default, case 1, and we are going to return a JSX. Create empty container, and in step 1, what we're gonna return is shipping information. The first field is shipping name, second one a street, third one city, next is gonna be postal code. The next one is a select box, not a text box, like this. It's a form control. We need to import form control from Material UI and input label from it. And we need to implement handle shipping country change. It shows list of countries coming from CommerceJS, and we need to update the order based on the selected country. For a state, we have the same rule. We need to create a select box to show subdivisions or states. And the last one is shipping options select box, like this. Let's implement the handlers for them. Scroll up, and right before get step content, create a handler for shipping country change. Here we set the shipping country, and also we fetch subdivisions because they are related select boxes. So it's gonna be like this. Fetch subdivision function, get a country code, and from CommerceJS load subdivisions based on the selected country code, and it set the subdivisions to this state. Let's go for the next one. Handle subdivision change. When user select an state, I need to set selected province and fetch shipping options. For shipping options, we need to pass 2 parameters. Let's implement fetch shipping options here. Fetch shipping options accept 3 parameters: the checkout token ID, the country, and state or province. And by default, it's null, because when we are fetching shipping options, ID of checkout is important based, it depends on the ID of checkout. Great, let's define checkout ID as a state. So scroll up here, right after error, define checkout token. After defining fetch shipping options, we need to implement handle shipping options change. Right after handle subdivision change, create this handler for saving shipping options. Great, let's scroll down and make sure there is no error at all. At this step, we are going to load countries on page load. To do that, we need to define use effect like this, and it's gonna depend on cart.loading. It means that when cart is loaded, run use effect again. Let's import use effect from React. And what I'm gonna do here is to check if cart.loading is false, it's gonna be true, and I'm going to generate a checkout token. The first step to checkout in CommerceJS is to generate a token. Here is the function generate token. First of all, we check the length of line item If it's 0, we return user to the cart screen to add item to cart. Otherwise, we create an instance of commerce and call checkout.generateToken, and we need to pass the ID of cart and set the type to cart to create a token to check out items in the cart. And the token object is gonna be saved here, and I set checkout token to this to save the token in my React component. After that, we need to call fetch shipping countries. Let's implement fetch shipping countries right after handle back, right before fetch subdivisions. Here I get the checkout token ID and call commerce.services locale list shipping countries and pass checkout token ID. Based this checkout token, I load only the countries based on this checkout token, not all countries. Here is the result. When I go to the second step, the information full name street is filled, and here I get United States. After that, I have all states inside this country, and after that I get shipping options in this state. And by clicking on next, I will go to payment information. Let's implement payment information. Go back to the get step content here and implement the case 2. After case 1, here create case 2. And we are going to return an empty container. The first text box is gonna be cart number. Second one is expiry month. Third one, expiry year. Next CVV. Next CVV. And the last one is gonna be billing postal code. Let's check the results. Next, card number and other payment information. Let's show the cart items on the right side. Scroll down to find the closing grid here, and after cart, closing cart and grid, create another grid like this and set middle to 4. Inside that, create a card, and inside that, create a list. Inside list, the first item is gonna be a heading, and it shows order summary, and after that, show items in the cart to user before checkout. And the last list item is gonna be subtotal. Let's check the result. It shows order summary and items in the cart. So when I go to this step, I will get all information. Great. We just implemented the checkout form, but we didn't implement confirm order. That's the topic of next lesson. In this lesson, we created the UI and also the country selection, loading states, creating dependent select boxes like this. And we redirect user to the confirm order. If I click on it, it just shows confirming order, but it doesn't do anything. That's the topic of next lesson. That's it for this lesson. See you on next lesson. In this lesson, we are going to implement checkout action. When user add a product to the cart and proceed to checkout and enter their information like this, in the last step, we need to implement confirm order. We need to create an order in CommerceJS and redirect user to confirmation page. In this lesson, we implement the order, and for next lesson, we implement the confirmation page. Let's get to code. Here is the plan to implement checkout action. Let's go to checkout.js, and in handle next function, we are going to implement handle capture checkout. Comment out this line. So when we are at the last step and click on confirm order, this function should run. Let's implement it. Const handle capture checkout. It's an async function because it sent request to CommerceJS API. Here we are going to create order data. Order data is an object, and in this object we are going to save all information about order. The first data is gonna be line items, and it comes from checkout token.live.line items. It includes all products, quantities, and subtotal. Next information is about customer, and it's what user entered in the form, including first name, last name, and email. Next section of data is shipping, and it includes name, street, city, country, postal code, and state. Next section is for fulfillment, and it set shipping method based on the selected shipping method in the combo box by user. And the last part is about credit card information. Here we are going to set gateway to test gateway because we are trying the sandbox API. And the next object is card, and it includes all card information, including card number, expiry month and year, and CVV and billing postal code. After setting this data, we need to get an instance of commerce using getCommerce and create a try-catch part. In try part, we need to call commerce.checkout.capture like this and set the returning value to order object. For capture, we pass two parameters, the ID of checkout token and the order information. Checkout.capture create an order in CommerceJS and return the order information in order object. After this, we need to dispatch this action, order set, and set the payload to order. We need to implement order set action later. After setting this, we save the order information in local storage using local storage.setItem, and we save the order as a string inside order receipt in local storage. And after that, we need to call refresh cart to delete all products in the cart. And the last command here is gonna be redirecting to confirmation page. We need to implement confirmation page in next lesson. What about error? First of all, we need to get errors like this. I just convert error.data.error.message to an array and save it inside error list and get errors as a error.data.error.errors. What I'm gonna do here is to concatenate all errors inside this variable with the error list. And at the end, I use set errors to show errors to user. Great. Let's implement refresh cart. Here is the definition of refresh cart function. It's an async to create an instance of CommerceJS and call cart.refresh. It create an empty cart and return that. So we need to dispatch cart retrieve success and set payload to new cart. Great. After implementing refresh cart, let's go and create order set inside constants in utils.js. Duplicate this and rename it to order set. Go to store.js, and as a last case for reducer, create a case for order set, and inside this action, I'm going to update order based on the data that is coming from action.payload. Import order set here, and as a default value for order, instead of setting to null, I'm going to check window. If window exists, it means that I'm in client, not in server. So I can read content from local storage and get order receipt. And if it does exist, convert that to JSON object. And if it doesn't exist, set order to null. That's it. Let's check the results. Click next. Let's keep country, state, and shipping options empty. Let's see what error do we get. Click on confirm order. The given data was invalid. It says we need to set shipping. We need to set shipping.country state and fulfillment.shipping method. Let's go back and back again. Select country, select state, and select shipping. Option next and confirm order. If you are getting this error, it says error.data.error.message is null. Let's fix this issue. Inside checkout.js, first of all, we need to import order state here and save it. Let's try again. Select the product, add it to cart, proceed to checkout, next, country, state, and confirm order. Great. We get redirected to confirmation page. And if you go to dashboard.check.io/orders, you will get the latest order that you created here. And if you click on it, you will see the details of this order, which is iPhone 12 Pro. And here is the test gateway, Jane Doe, and all information that you have entered in checkout screen. Great. That's it about this lesson. For next lesson, we are going to implement confirmation screen and show all information about the order to user. Until that lesson, bye-bye. In this lesson, we are going to implement order screen. It's gonna be in this path /confirmation, and right after confirming the order, we redirect user to a page like this. In this page, user will see all information about the order, including order summary, order items, and payment, shipping, and customer details. Also, we will publish the code on the versal using git push, and all code will be published and deployed on the internet at this address coolshop.versal.app. If you follow the instruction on deploying to Versal at the very first lesson, you will have the project on the internet at this address, but the address is gonna be different based on your app name. Okay, let's implement this feature and publish that on the internet. Here is the plan to create confirmation screen. What I'm gonna do is to go to pages folder and duplicate cart and rename it to confirmation. Inside this, get rid of all event handlers and also all contents inside layout. Cut them and remove them. Change cart to confirmation and also here. From state, we only need order. We are going to show the order and there is no need to dispatch. Inside layout, first of all, I just check the order. If it doesn't exist, I show no order found. Otherwise, create a React fragment and inside that show the title. The title of order, it's gonna be order and the ID of order as a heading 1. Then create a slide. Inside a slide, we are going to define a grid. Inside this grid, create a grid and set it as a main content by setting MD9. And inside that, create the first card. The first card is gonna show customer details and it shows first name, last name, and email. Let's go for the second card. The second card is gonna be for shipping information to show shipping name, street, city, country, and postal code. And don't forget, we need to close it, the opening curly bracket, to format it like this. After shipping details cart, let's go for the payment details cart. For payment details, I'm gonna use this code. Create a heading 2 and check transaction. If transaction in order exists and it has at least one item, then I show the transaction information like this. If there is no transaction information, alert no payment found. Let's go for the last grid, and the last grid is about order items. Right after this grid, create last grid. Here I create a heading 2 to show order items and create a table container. Inside that, create a table with 3 columns: name, quantity, and price of products in the order. And here is the table body to loop over line items inside order and to show all products in the order. That's it about the main section of confirmation, and let's go for the order summary. Right after this grid, create another grid, set the type of grid to item, MD3, and for extra small, occupy the whole screen. Create a card. Inside this card, create a title for order summary, and inside that we are going to create a list like this. Inside this list, the first list item that I'm gonna show is subtotal, and it comes from order.order.subtotal formatted with symbol. Second list item is tax price, and it comes from order.tax.amount. Third one is coming from shipping.price, and the title is shipping, and the next one is gonna be total price. Let's create a list item for total price, and it's coming from order.order.total with tax. The last item is total paid. Let's create that total paid, and it's coming from order.order.total paid. Let's save it and go to confirmation page. Here we have this. Let's change the title to order. Scroll up, set title to what we have here, like this. Save it, create a space, and yeah, the title has been changed. That's it. We have this order. It shows order information including customer details, shipping details, and payment details, and order items. And order summary, it shows subtotal, tax, shipping total, and total paid. What we did in this lesson is to create a confirmation page. Let's test it again. Go to home screen, select the product, add it to cart, select another product, set the value, add it to cart, change the value from previous, check out the screen, enter information like this, click next, and confirm order. You will be redirected to confirmation page, and you as a customer will get an email in your inbox, and also you will get a screen like this to see all information about your order. If you go to dashboard.check.io, at this point you get your last order, and if you compare this data with the data that you have here, they are equal to each other. Great. At the end of this course, let's push this code to GitHub, and it's gonna be deployed on Versal automatically. I'm going to commit this change. Commit name is gonna be 13 create order confirmation screen, and from here click on push. After completing push, let's go to versal.com and click on login with GitHub, and here is the Coolshop project. Click on it. As you see, it's building. After pushing, it's building the project. So here I'm waiting to finish building and change the color to green ready. Great. Now it's ready. And if I click on it, in a new screen, I have coolshop.versal.app. Let's try that. I click on a product, add it to cart, proceed to checkout. As you see here, I need to enter information because I'm in production mode, not in development. So I need to enter my information manually like this. 4242, expiry month, year, CV. Let's change the postal code to this and this. And that's it. I just created an order in coolshop.versal.app. If you check your email, you will get an email about confirming this order. So what we did in this course is to implement an e-commerce using NextJS in frontend and CommerceJS in backend. At the end, we published our project on Versal Cloud Platform to publish that on the internet. You can easily change versal.app to your own domain. If you go to setting, click on domains, and here, as you see, you can add your own domain and follow the instruction to change your website, to move your website from versal.app, which is just for test and development purposes, to your own domain and launch your own business using Versal and CommerceJS. That's all about this course. Until next course, bye-bye.